When you play against high level players, you'll notice that they always seem to be in the right place at the right time for every single shot. And you'll see that as soon as you play your shot, they're on the way to the ball, getting ready to play their shot. And you have to ask why they can even do this. Yes, their footwork is fast, but it's not because of that. It's for the same reason that older, experienced players with not as fast footwork can still get to difficult balls. What experienced players actually do is watch and focus and analyze what you're doing. So they try and take in little bits of information like the opponent's racket angle, their feet placement, where their eyes are looking. All these little things help them predict where you're most likely to go for your next shot. And once they get used to picking up these little cues for where you might hit the ball next, they become very good at predicting where they need to be. This is why their footwork seems so good. This is what allows them to start moving early and then be on time. What I like to say is that experienced players use a very advanced form of prediction, whereas amateur and beginner players simply react. They're just reacting to the ball. They don't have much of a plan. They're just watching the ball, not the opponent. The main problem is that as an amateur or a beginner, it's very difficult to use this technique because your brain would simply overload with information. To focus on things other than your shots, your technique, your footwork while you're playing, you have to have a very good grasp of them already. You need a strong muscle memory of all your shots, all your footworks, all your techniques before you can even start thinking about mid-game tactics like watching your opponent. So for the first year or few years of your table tennis journey, at the front of your mind will be things like technique, footwork, how you're actually moving your body to play the shot. Then you'll start to develop a strong muscle memory of all your strokes and all your footwork, and then your mind will have nothing to think about. So then you'll automatically start thinking about the game on a deeper level. You'll start to use stronger, deeper tactics. Once you have a good level of table tennis muscle memory with your shots, you won't need to think about your technique. You'll be thinking about these little things like watching your opponent, watching where their eyes are going, watching where their feet are positioned, and how that might affect where they're going to play the next shot. Once this muscle memory is developed, you don't really think about playing your shots. You don't really think, oh, so for the forehand loop, I need to go low to high. You don't think that much. Your brain sees the ball coming to a specific area on the table, and it knows that every single time the ball's come there previously in training or in matches, I've played this shot and this shot is correct, so I'm going to play that shot. I don't need to do any manual thinking. So the focus is taken off your technique. So you have so much brain power which you can allocate to the tactical side of the game. So for example, it's very easy to predict where someone's going to go with their forehand depending on the positioning of their feet. So they're a right-hander, this is their left foot. If their right foot is in front of their body or level with their left foot, then they're most likely going to go across their body, across the table. And if their right foot is a little bit further back and their body is more open to this side of the table, they're most likely going to go down the line or straight. As an experienced player, you start to pick up on these little details. So your footwork really becomes very intuitive and it relies on prediction. So at the moment, if you're a beginner or amateur, what I'm saying might sound like a distant superpower, but it's really not. It's about having the muscle memory to play your strokes and do your footwork autonomously, then freeing up your headspace and allowing yourself to think about the game on a deeper level. So how do you get this muscle memory? You train the basics as much as possible, get as much match experience, play as much matches as you can against as many different opponents as you can, and just try and play every single shot as much as you can. Because the more times you play a shot, the less you think about it. I'm at the point where I literally, if I knew my partner was consistent, I could close my eyes and play forehand counter hits. All the time I've rocked up the training and I'm doing forehand, backhand, simple counter hits. And my mind is just wandering off. I'm calculating these little different things about what homework I'm going to do after this. Oh, did I have to walk the dog today before training? You know, my mind is not there because I don't have to think about the shot. It's complete muscle memory. And then as you can imagine, when I'm focused into the game, then I can forget about the shot like I already was and then watch my opponent, watch what they're doing, and then think of tactics while I'm playing as the rally is on. And, you know, try and beat my opponent that way. And to clarify, this isn't something that you have to do manually. Once you get the muscle memory of your shots and your footwork completely down, you start to think about this naturally. You start to think of these little tactics, ways, techniques to beat your opponent. Because what are you going to think about when you play? You're not going to think about your shots. And you're not going to think about the TV show you watched last night. you're going to think about the game that you're playing and how you can win in that game. So this is my explanation about why experienced players are always on time for the ball. And until you become an experienced player, just focus on getting as many repetitions with every shot as much as possible. The more you play a specific shot, the less you have to think about it. And the less you have to think about it, the more brain space is freed up. And then with that brain space, you can implement deeper tactics, watch your opponents, and tamper with these tiny little details to help improve your game. Anyways, I really hope that helped, and you know now why these players are always on time for the ball.